Our series looking at the civil conflicts in the subcontinent of India, caught in the club, disturbing of the state of the lives of its people.
Punjab, the grain basket of India. 61-year-old Gyan Singh and his eldest son Chanan till the soil of their 32-acre farm. When he's not busy being a policeman in nearby Taran, the younger son, Baljinder, also comes home to give a hand. It's the middle son, Joginder, who's responsible for the day-to-day running of the farm. But his father, Gyan, is a worried man. Jagiro Kaur, Chanan's wife, is the only woman in the household. She looks after the menfolk with only the help of her 5-year-old daughter. Gyan Singh is looking forward to the day when all his sons are married. As his father grows older, 34-year-old Joginder takes more responsibility for the family. Although he obtained an arts degree from Khalsa College in Amritsar, 30 miles away, he chose to return to the farm.
मैं चाहता हां कि मैं बड़े आराम नाल रहां मैं खेती करां मैं अपना चारा बीजां ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਲਿਜਾਵਾਂ ਪਸ਼ੂ ਡੰਗਰ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਦੁੱਧ ਵੇਚਾਂ.
Today, Gyan Singh is a happy man because his son Joginder is preparing to meet his fiancée for the first time. Like most farmers of the state of Punjab, he and his family are of the Sikh faith. His fiancée lives in the town of Batala on the other side of Amritsar. She's just 18 and her family are also farmers.
ਸਾਡਾ ਆਮ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੰਗਾ ਕੋਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਚੰਗਾ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਹੋਣ ਦੀ ਖਾਤਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਕੁਝ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਆਦਤਾਂ ਚੰਗੀਆਂ ਗਣਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਾਂ ਘਰ ਦੀ ਇਕਨੋਮਿਕ ਕੰਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਕੁਝ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਹਾਲਾਤਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਖਾਤਰ ਚੰਗੀ ਹੋਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਵੀ ਚਲੋ ਲੜਕੀ ਆਏਗੀ ਸੁੱਖ ਦੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਖਾਏਗੀ.
But this is Joginder's second marriage. One calm August night in 1989, as the family slept peacefully, there was a power cut. Joginder went to investigate.
ਰਾਤ ਦੇ 12:15 ਵਜੇ 10-12 ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਆਏ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਕੱਲੇ-ਕੱਲੇ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਠਾ ਕੇ ਪਹਿਲੋਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਿਸਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਠਾਇਆ. ਉਹਨੂੰ ਉਠਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਮਾਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਉਠਾਇਆ. ਉਹਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਬੀਬੀ ਜੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਹੁਣੀ ਆਏ ਆ. ਉਸਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸੀ ਕਿ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਛਕਣਾ. ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਆਦਮੀ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਛਕਣਾ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਚਾਹ ਪੀਣੀ ਆ. ਬੜੇ ਮਿਸਯੂਜ ਵਰਡ ਵਰਤੇ. ਇਹ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਆ.
ਮੈਂ ਜ਼ਬਰਦਸਤੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਝੜ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਠ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਛਾਲ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਭੱਜ ਗਿਆ. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਰੌਲਾ ਮੈਂ ਪਕੜ ਲਓ ਫੈਰ ਕੀਤੇ. ਮੈਂ 500-600 ਮੀਟਰ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਰੁਕ ਗਿਆ.
ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਮੈਂ ਘਰ ਤੋਂ 300 ਗਜ ਦੀ ਦੂਰੀ ਤੇ ਫੈਰ ਸੁਣ ਰਿਹਾ ਹਾਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਘਰ ਕੋਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਟੱਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਘਰ ਤੋਂ ਕੋਈ 50 ਗਜ ਦੀ ਦੂਰੀ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਇੱਕ ਬਰਸ ਛੱਡਿਆ. ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੂਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸਮਝਿਆ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ.
By the end of that night, Joginder's first wife, Paramjit Kaur, lay dead, as did his brother's wife, his sister, Paramjit Kaur, his only daughter, Amrit, his 65-year-old mother, his nephew and other relations. In all, 10 women and children of Joginder's family were brutally murdered.
ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਹਿਜੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਲਾਸ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਠਿਆਂ ਸਿੱਧਿਆਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਵੇਂਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਕੋਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਫੱਟੜ ਹੋਵੇ. ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਸਪੀਟਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਵਾਂ. ਜੋ ਹੇਠਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਪਏ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਲਿਆਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਪਰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਿੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ. ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਲਹੂ ਵਗ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ.
ਮੈਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ कि जदों 10 जी मरे पे मन बहुत ज़्यादा जिद्दां कि मतलब गम दा मतलब समुंदर जिहड़ा ठाठा मार रहा है पर रोन बहुत घट आउंदा ही हनेरा ही चार चफेरे भी किते फेर ना आ जाण।
Now that Gian has lost most of his family, all he has left is his belief in God.
मेरा सज्जा हत्थ वड्ढिया गया पर ਉਹਦੇ बगैर मैं अपने बच्चों नाल जिंदगी बतीत करूँगा। कोई ऐसी गल नहीं, बच्चों दी छातियां होणगियां, परमेश्वर फिर मेहर करूगा।
The area where they live has now become a hotbed of terrorism. Joginder's family have turned their home into a fortress. It's guarded 24 hours a day. Joginder is convinced his family were murdered by hired terrorists over a land dispute with a neighbouring farm. Today, armed gangs roam the countryside, intervening to settle old scores as they think fit.
इस पिछले साल जिस दिन तो जिस रात तो साडे नाल घटना वापरी आ उस दिन तो पहलां ही अपने आप नूं आज़ाद समझदे हां, फ्री समझदे हां, जिथे मर्जी घूम फिर सकदे हां, जा आ सकदे हां। उस तो बाद साडे लई गुलामी आ, असीं घर च कैद हां।
Although a policeman, his younger brother is in no doubt as to how he would deal with his family's killers.
मैं जल्दी चंद सेकंडां दे विच उन्हां मार दांगा बेशक मेरे उत्ते कोई एक्शन आ जाए जां ना आ जाए। मैं जिहड़ा कि आपदा बुलदा होया खून है ना मैं इहनूं ठंडा कर लवां।
Joginder's family were just 10 victims of a seemingly endless conflict which has cost 12,000 lives. Although only 2% of India's population, Sikhs have enjoyed a special status within India. This began under the British when Sikhs played a disproportionate role in the armies of the Raj. At independence in 1947, the area known as Punjab was divided between India and Pakistan. Since then, Sikhs have striven to make the area distinctive from the rest of India. In 1966, they won a partial victory when Prime Minister Indira Gandhi redrew the boundaries of Punjab. This resulted in Sikhs being in a majority in Punjab for the first time. Punjabi was also declared the official language. But for some, this isn't enough. They want greater autonomy from central government, an object capital Chandigarh with the neighbouring state of Haryana. The farmers also feel resentful that Punjab shares its river waters with neighbouring states. Despite this, Punjab has become India's grain basket. Thanks to technology and intensive land use, the state accounts for more than half of India's wheat and rice production. Punjabis now enjoy one of the highest standards of living in India.
The green revolution has saved India, otherwise we'd be spending money till we're green in the face on importing foodstuffs. At the moment we're exporting, which even Russia and China are not doing.
But it is this very success which may have sown the seeds of the present problems in Punjab. Sikhs feel others should recognise their distinctiveness. Underlying all Sikh demands has been a sense of insecurity about their identity. They want greater recognition of their religious differences. They would like Amritsar, the site of the Golden Temple, the holiest Sikh shrine, to be declared an official holy city, where smoking and alcohol will be banned by national law. And it was a lack of response by central government to such demands that led to increasingly vociferous calls for greater autonomy from Delhi, calls whipped up in the 60s and 70s by the Sikh religious party, the Akali Dal. As their support grew, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi began to worry about support for her own Congress party in Punjab. She tried to neutralise what she saw as the Akali threat by exploiting divisions among the Sikhs. Her son Sanjay was instrumental in promoting Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale, an itinerant preacher, as a counterweight to the Akalis. The charismatic Bhindranwale had soon gathered around him a band of fanatical followers. A violent campaign for Sikh separatism was launched. In 1983, nearly 100 Hindus were killed. Bhindranwale proved Indira Gandhi's nemesis. To escape the law, he took refuge in the Golden Temple, from where he continued his attacks. Finally, on June the 4th, 1984, Mrs. Gandhi sent in the army in Operation Blue Star. After 4 days, Bhindranwale lay dead, as did 500 Sikhs and 83 soldiers. On October the 31st, Indira Gandhi was assassinated by her own Sikh bodyguards. Many Sikhs felt being a sacrilege. In retaliation, Hindu mobs killed thousands of innocent Sikhs. The carnage was at its worst in Delhi.
Between 2,000 to 3,000 Sikhs were burnt alive within a space of countries never returned to normal ever since. And I think the main cause of terrorism continuing in the Punjab are the Blue Star operation and the massacre of Sikhs in Delhi.
Since 1984, a fanatic minority of Sikhs have literally called the shots in the politics of Punjab. While the faithful celebrate the birthday of the founder of the Sikh religion, Guru Nanak, extremists just outside Amritsar prepare for war for an independent Sikh state they have called Khalistan. Last year, nearly 4,000 people died in Punjab, the highest number since Operation Blue Star. 2/3 were Sikh. For the militants, total independence from India is their goal. They will go to any length to achieve it.
ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਲਈ ਇੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ 5 ਪਿੰਡ ਵੀ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਣ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਛੱਡਾਂਗੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਬਾਉਂਡਰੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੂ ਕਿ ਬਾਉਂਡਰੀ ਕੀ ਆ ਕੋਈ ਡਰਨ ਦੀ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਰਮਲ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਜੀ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਮੌਤ ਤਾਂ ਅਟਲ ਆ
ਕੁਰਬਾਨ ਕਰ ਜਾਾਂਗੇ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਕਿਸੇ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਸਾਡੇ 'ਚ ਕਮਜ਼ੋਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਊਗੀ
But observers believe that despite such commitment and the violence it engenders, only a minority support Khalistan.
I can understand the Sikhs are very angry with the government and they have much to be angry about. But when it comes to a positive answer, then I don't go along with them, and I know that 99% of the Sikhs don't either.
But some extremists will stop at nothing to achieve their ends. Jasmeet Kaur is a 24-year-old remand prisoner in Amritsar. She is charged with murder.
अब तो कोई पछतावा नहीं है अब तो बस ये थिंकिंग है जो किया ठीक किया शायद बहुत अच्छा ही किया बिकॉज इधर जो आम लोगों की थिंकिंग है काफ़ी लोग जो है वो सोच रहे हैं कि मैंने गलत किया लेकिन जो मेरा ग्रुप है मेरी सोसाइटी के लोग हैं आम जनरल गांव में जाओगे अगर आप तो वहाँ से पूछोगे तो वो लोग यही कहेंगे कि उसने बहुत अच्छा किया है
Jasmeet is an educated woman with an arts degree from Khalsa College. She claims she was always a supporter of Khalistan, but couldn't join the militants as her father is a policeman.
मेरी तो शुरू से ही इनसे हमदर्दी थी टेररिस्ट से लेकिन मैं उसको शो ऑफ नहीं कर सकती थी और ये लोग चाहती तो मैं काफ़ी देर से थी कि मैं इनमें इन्वॉल्व हूँ लेकिन ये लोग मेरे पे बिलीव नहीं करते थे बिकॉज मेरे फादर पुलिस में थे
Just 18 when the Indian Army entered the Golden Temple, like many Sikhs, Jasmeet considered it a sacrilege.
सबसे ज़्यादा तो मैं प्रभावित हुई 84 ब्लू स्टार ऑपरेशन से तभी से मेरे को इन पुलिस वालों से और गवर्नमेंट से नफरत थी इससे पहले मैं काफ़ी रिलीजियस थी तो जब इन्होंने ये काम बोला तो मेरे को खुशी हुई ये काम लेके
Jasmeet joined one of the militant groups, the Bhindranwale Tiger Force of Khalistan. Her first assignment was to lure a communist opponent into a trap. Like many of his communist colleagues in Punjab, Hardev Singh Babu preached an anti-sectarian message and encouraged villagers to stand up to the militants. He's even believed to have killed one of them. Sukraj Singh recalls how Jasmeet enticed his friend Hardev into the hands of the militants.
ਪੱਤਰਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਤੇ ਹੋਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਐਂਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤਸ਼ੱਦਦ ਵਾਲੇ ਘਰ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਟੈਰਰਿਸਟਾਂ ਨੇ ਟੌਰਚਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਜਾਇਜ਼ਾ ਲੈਣ ਦਾ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਆਂਦਾ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਸਟ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਲੋਂਗ ਕਰਦੀ ਹਾਂ मैं दिल्ली तो आई हैं ये जाल दे चांद के हो
उसने बोला कि आप और कहाँ जा रही मैंने बोला कि मैं और इधर बॉर्डर एरिया पे जाके गांव में जाके लोगों का इंटरव्यू लूँगी तभी उसने मेरे को ऑफर किया कि मैं आपके साथ चलूँ यही तो मैं चाहती थी
She hired a flat in Amritsar. In the evenings, she took Hardev to the best restaurants. On that fateful day, she met him at a pre-arranged rendezvous. Once there, they were bundled into a red Maruti car and driven at high speed through the streets of Amritsar. Like many anti-sectarian activists before him, Hardev Singh Babu paid the ultimate price.
इधर गुमटाला रोड पे जाके मेरे को उतार दिया और उसको ले गए बस यहाँ तक कि मैं जानती हूँ। इतना क्लियर नहीं था कि वो मार ही देंगे, थोड़ा बहुत पता था, इतना पता था कि इसको इंटरोगेट करना है, काफ़ी कुछ पूछताछ करनी है उससे। और मेरे को उसका बिल्कुल पछतावा नहीं है कि वो मारा गया, क्यों मारा गया, बिकॉज ऐसे गंदे लोगों को तो वैसे ही मार देना चाहिए।
Hardev Singh's head was hacked from his body and impaled on the community centre gate as a warning to other communists in his village. But in the areas where militants have a stranglehold, life has to continue. 37-year-old Gurinder Pal Dillon comes from the border district of Taran Taran, where his family has farmed for generations. In 1972, he left his native Punjab for England, where he ran a hotel with his brother in London's Earl's Court. But 10 years later, he returned home to help his father on their farm.
I wear my turban, this outfit, this Punjabi outfit in the village, because I feel more close to the society, more close to the people. And I think it doesn't distinguish me from the rest of people. I lived in England for 10 years, and I came back in 1982 to live here for good. I think I belong here, and I should be here, and I feel proud to be here. That's good.
But even for Gurinder, life has its difficulties. For his young wife Kulbir and his family, he has bought a house in the relative safety of an upmarket suburb in Amritsar. In the village, he survives by giving food and shelter to the militants, but even this creates problems.
You feed 10 people in the night, you give them shelter, and in the morning, police is going to find out, and they're going to come around and say, did you feed them? Did they sleep here? And you can't deny that. If you deny that, you're dead. If you give them 10, 20,000 rupees, that's it. They came and they went. So it's all right. It's all right for both sides.
Whenever a leading militant is killed, a bhog or memorial service is held. A call goes out to the villagers from the Gurdwara or Sikh temple. Thousands turn out to show their appreciation. Gurinder Pal Dillon is no exception. For some, there can be no coming to terms with the militants. Gyan Chand needs a guard wherever he goes, simply because he is a Hindu. Although the majority who have died in Punjab are Sikh, life for the Hindus in the Punjab countryside is bleak. Since the storming of the Golden Temple, some 30,000 Hindus have fled the countryside. Some to the towns where Hindus form a majority, others to places outside Punjab altogether. But Gyan Chand is different. He refuses to leave his village of Vainpui, where his family have lived for 200 years.
अकेला हिंदू एक पिंड में रह गया है, 10-15 प्रीसनर मिले हैं, उसकी वजह से नहीं तो हम भी कहीं चले जाते हैं। डर लगता है कि अपनी जितना कोई काम नहीं कर सकते हैं, कोई काम बाहर दुकान पे नहीं बैठ सकते, किसी भी नहीं है, ते अपने अंदर बढ़ के आए इन्ना तेरे गुजारा नहीं होता। असीं अपने आप नूं मरे इंच गिनते हैं कि पता नहीं कल मर जाना कि परसों मर जाना है। जी रहते हैं, अभी तो माहौल तो डरते भी हैं, नहीं भी डरते हैं, क्यों हमारे पास इतना सरमाया नहीं है कि जो हम एकदम शिफ्ट करके कहीं चले जाएं। अगे तो जी बहुत साडे घर इत्थे सी, सारे सुबह उठ के मंदिर जाते सी, उससे उन्हां दी सफाई मंदिर दी करते सी, पूजा करते सी। हुण मैं कल्ला रह के करके मंदिर दी सफाई नहीं हो सकती, और जिदन टाइम मिलता है उदन ही जाने हैं, नहीं तो रोज़ नहीं जाते जी। हुण पहला 4 महीने सी जी, तो एक गां सी, हुण इक्को गां रखी आ कि माहौल बहुत इधर खराब है, किहड़े वेले सानूं उठना पवे। और मेरे बाकी जिहड़े भैन भरा अजे सारे चले ही गए, तकरीबन मैं अजे कल्ला ही हाँ गाँव च, इस वास्ते ना मईयां रख सकदा, ना दुकान कर सकदा। मेरा फादर ही दुकान करते सी, सारे पिंड नूं वड्डी दुकान साडी सी। अपना दुकान का काम बिल्कुल बंद करता, अपने घर ही है जी हम तक। रिपेयर जी हम तक जो ये रौला गौला पिया है, रिपेयर कोई बिल्कुल नहीं कराते, क्यों मकान कोई गिर भी गया है, क्यों इसलिए रिपेयर करा रहे कि पता नहीं पड़ के इधर से जाना पड़े तो रिपेयर करा के क्या करेंगे।
While her son prepares cattle fodder, Gyan Chand's wife, Sitara Rani, remembers the old days.
अगे जब पहला माहौल ठीक सी, ਉਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਅੱਧੀ ਰਾਤ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਤੁਰੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਪੱਠੇ ਵੀ ਕੁਤਰੀ ਦੇ ਸੀ ਪਾਈ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਸੀ ਬਾਹਰ ਵੀ ਫਿਰੀ ਤੁਰੀ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਸੀ
Gion's daughter Goldie is not yet married, and despite everything, they have saved a substantial dowry for her. But he's worried about leaving her alone.
लड़की जब घर में है, हम घर से बाहर नहीं जा सकते। उस एक जना हमारा घर में जरूर रहेगा, उसके पास हमेशा घर में रहना जरूरी है, समझते हैं हम लोग। तब तक शादी नहीं होता।
But although his son Naresh is now paid by the police to guard the house, he was himself shot at 4 years ago.
ਤੇ ਦੁਕਾਨ ਤੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਡੈਡੀ ਤੇ ਛੋਟਾ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਤੋਂ 3 ਜਣੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆਏ ਇੱਕ ਪਿੰਡ ਦਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਦੂਜੇ 2 ਬਾਹਰ ਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਆਉਂਦਿਆਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਚਲਾਤੀਆਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਲੱਤ ਤੇ ਮਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਮਾਰੀ ਇੱਕ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਬਾਜੂ ਤੇ ਆ ਜੀ ਆ ਵੱਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਧਰ ਦੀ ਨਿਕਲ ਗਈ ਉਹ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ
Taran Singh is one of Gyan Chund's many Sikh friends. A retired farmer, Taran Singh is a regular visitor to Gyan Chund's fortified home.
पहले तो हम उनके रिश्ते दो उसका बाप धर्मसों का उसका बाप का बाप वो सब हमारे बापों के दोस्त थे इकट्ठा बैठना इकट्ठा शादी में जाना अभी भी जाते हैं
So when Gyan and his son Naresh were shot at in their shop, his old friendship came in handy. Taran Singh's son Dharam was the local militant leader at the time. Gyan went to see him.
आया मैं अगले दिन ते धर्मसों दे कोल गया मैं हरी दस ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਪਿੰਡੋਂ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਈਏ ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਾਰਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਿੰਡੋਂ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਧਰਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਆਖਿਆ ਕੋਈ ਫਿਕਰ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ ਮੈਂ ਆਪੇ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਠੀਕ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਥੋੜੇ 1 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਹੀ ਉਸ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਚਲਾਈਆਂ ਸੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮਾਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ
As the cycle of violence continues, Dharam Singh has himself been shot dead. The villagers believe he was killed by the police. KPS Gill was until recently Punjab's Director General of Police, hence a leading target for the militants. Despite losing 500 men last year, he remains optimistic.
The morale remains very high. I would have expected that this constant fear of being ambushed or the fear of being shot when they are on leave would affect the morale and they would slacken off in the fight against terrorism. But that has not happened.
Simranjit Singh Maan was a senior member of the Punjab police. In 1984, he tried to escape to Nepal after being accused of gun running for the militant Sikhs in the Golden Temple. He was captured and imprisoned, but while in jail, he was elected MP for the notorious Taran Taran constituency on the border with Pakistan. He is now regarded as one of the few leaders capable of solving the present conflict.
Punjab at the moment does need a leader like him who can inspire the youngsters, who can rally them around him, give him power, hold elections in Punjab, let him come into power if the people support him, and then let him take the chestnuts out of the fire.
On his release from prison, Maan alleged he was tortured while inside.
They put electric currents into my toenails. As you see, I don't have any toenails now. And they put these electric shocks into my genitals. My scrotum has got loose.
He claims that was done in Bhagalpur jail, not in Punjab.
They pinned me down with my beard. My knot of hair they caught hold of. And they kept bashing me in my jaw. And as you see, all my jaw has been displaced. All my teeth, they've been bashed in.
He also said that his teeth had been pulled out. Did you talk to him? Did you find any missing teeth? But that was one of the statements he made.
Maan also claims that police actually torture villagers suspected of harbouring gunmen.
Some cases of torture off and on are reported, and we take action against officers involved in that. You see, when you are to interrogate a terrorist, our attempt is to get as much information out of him. And in such a situation, torture can be counterproductive. The man can just clamp up.
Whatever the truth of the allegations, there are some who believe that even in death, the police deprive people of their dignity.
The police in the Punjab have got so many bodies to get rid of that they do not have, you know, any kind of respect for the normal rituals that go with cremation, where bodies are cremated singly and, you know, with a certain amount of prayers, etc. And they're often, you know, what they tend to do is to just sort of dump a whole lot of bodies together and burn them.
However, the most serious allegation against the police is that encounters with gunmen are faked, so that police can eliminate militants without trial.
You can't get people to give evidence in court against people they know who are killers. So they take them the shortcut of identifying the killers, and when they capture them, they kill them and make up a fake case of an encounter.
But the police reject this allegation.
After a month in which no terrorist died, suddenly on one day in 3 or 4 different operations, 13 terrorists died on the same day. And immediately this noise started about fake encounters. Mr. Mukherjee was the governor. He ordered inquiries, and all the 13 encounters were found to be genuine encounters.
Another day, another patrol. The Punjab police search for militants on a farm near Taran. Today, their search proves fruitless. But while the government needs to win the hearts and minds of the people, there can be little prospect of peace until confidence in the police is re-established. For the children growing up in Punjab today, their hopes for a peaceful settlement rest with whoever forms the new government after next month's elections. Caretaker Prime Minister Chandrasekhar is clear about how he would solve the crisis.
If their feelings have been hurt, we should try to assuage it and try to bring them for negotiation, for talking. I am ready to talk with anybody who is Indian and talks about his grievances only with one condition: no compromise with the sovereignty, dignity and integrity of this nation.
While politicians seek solutions to the Punjab problem, in Amritsar, Joginder Singh meets his new wife for the very first time. All he wants is a peaceful life.
मैं इस वेले मैं ही 10 जी पिछले साल अपने परिवार दे गवा चुके पर वो चीज़ गवाउण तो बाद भी मैं चाहता हाँ कि मैं अपने परिवार नूं दोबारा एडजस्ट करा ते अपनी सुख दी जिंदगी बतीत करिए, ना कि उस पासे पैंदे होए अपनी जिंदगी नूं बदला लैके बर्बाद करिए।
Next Friday, Your Life in Their Hands returns with a provocative investigation into the world of spiritual healing.